Hey, I'm Anna. That video and its sound were both made by one AI, MiniMax H3. And today I'll show you how to run it in ComfyUI, step by step. Total beginner, you'll still get it. And stick around. At the end, I'll show you the one setting most people get wrong. So, what is MiniMax H3? It's what's called an omnimodal model, and that just means it understands text, images, video, and audio all together in one single brain. The really special thing about it is that it makes the video and the sound together at the same time. Before we start, just two quick things. First, make sure your ComfyUI is updated to the latest version, because this model is brand new, and an older version simply won't have the right building blocks for it. Second, this is a big, powerful model, so don't worry if a video takes a little while to make. That is completely normal. Okay, let's open the workflow. You don't need to build anything from scratch, because it comes ready-made. Just click on Templates. Then type MiniMax into the search box. You'll see a few of them pop up, and you want to select the one called MiniMax H3. Give it a click, and it will load straight onto your canvas. Let's walk through the boxes one by one, and I'll tell you exactly what each one does. When the workflow first loads, you'll see a red border around the MiniMax H3 node. This indicates that the required models are missing. You can also see the related errors on the right side. Click the Error tab, and you can download the missing models directly from there. Before we touch any of the boxes, let's start with the most important part, getting the model files. When the workflow loads, you'll see some dark note panels sitting off to the side. One of them is called Model Links. Think of this as your shopping list. It holds all the download links for the pieces of the AI that you need, and it also shows you exactly which folder each piece goes into. So go ahead and download each file from those links, and then drop it into the matching folder inside your ComfyUI Models folder. The two converters go into the folder called VAE. The main artist file goes into the folder called Diffusion Models, and the translator file goes into the folder called Text Encoders. You only have to do this once, and here's a handy tip. If any box in the workflow later shows up red, or its drop-down menu looks empty, that almost always means the file isn't sitting in the right folder yet. So take your time with this part, and get it right, and the rest will be smooth. Right next to that, there's a second note panel, and this one is simply called MiniMax H3. Think of it as a little info card about the model itself. It gives you a quick reminder of what MiniMax H3 is, that it understands text, images, video, and audio all together, and that it makes video with its own built-in sound. And it also has a short section called About This Workflow, which lists the three main things you'll be feeding into the model. Let's go through those three, because they matter. The first, and the most important, is your prompt. And here's the clever part. You describe everything in one single block of text. Not just the shots and the camera moves, but also the audio you want, the dialogue, the sound effects, and the music, all written together in the same place. The second setting is the Resolution Selector box. Here, instead of manually entering the width and height, you can choose the aspect ratio, such as 16:9, and the desired megapixel value. The table below shows the actual output resolution for each megapixel setting. For example, selecting 0.2 megapixels with a 16:9 aspect ratio gives an output video resolution of 608 by 352 pixels. And the third is the duration, in seconds, which determines the length of the video output. Now, on the main canvas, you'll notice there really aren't many boxes at all. There's the resolution selector we just covered, then one big box in the middle, and one box at the end. That big box in the middle is where everything actually happens, and it's labeled Image to Video. MiniMax H3. This is what's called a subgraph. Think of it as a folder that has a whole second workflow packed neatly inside it. So go ahead and double-click that big box, and it opens up to reveal the inside. And this is where it all lives. At first, it looks busier, but here's the nice part. It's neatly organized into 4 colored groups, and they line up almost perfectly with those 4 stages I mentioned. There's a group called Models, a group called Conditioning, a group called Sampling, and a group called Decoding and Create Video. So we'll just take them in order, left to right, and it'll all make sense. The first group is called Models. This is where we load the 3 main pieces of the AI. The first box is called Load Diffusion Model. In the simplest words, the diffusion model is the artist that actually paints every frame of your video. The second box is called Load Clip, and this one loads the text encoder, which is simply the translator that turns your English words into a form the artist can understand. Then there are 2 boxes, both called Load VAE, and a VAE is simply the converter that turns the AI's rough idea into the finished picture and sound you can actually see and hear. Now you might be wondering, why are there 2 of them? Well, here's the reason. This model makes both picture and sound, and those are 2 completely different kinds of data. A picture and a soundtrack aren't stored the same way at all, so each one needs its own dedicated converter. One VAE handles the video, and the other VAE handles the audio. Most other video tools only have one, because they only make a silent picture. That little second converter, just for sound, is really the clue to what makes this model special. The next group is called Conditioning. And in one line, conditioning just means taking your words and shaping them into instructions that guide what the AI creates. Sitting in the middle of this group is the heart of the whole workflow, the box called MiniMax H3 Image to Video. So what does this box actually do? Well, it's the meeting point where everything comes together. The translator and the converter we just loaded both plug into it, and your prompt gets typed into it, along with the width, the height, and the length. Then it does 2 jobs. First, it takes your written prompt, runs it through the translator, and turns it into a clear set of instructions the artist can follow. And second, it prepares a blank canvas at exactly the right size and length, ready for the AI to paint on. So in one sentence, this box reads your request and sets the stage for the whole video. The next group is called Sampling, and this is where the AI actually creates your video. Now here is the one idea that explains all of this, so listen closely. The AI does not start with a blank page. Instead, it starts with pure random static, like the fuzzy gray fuzz you'd see on an old television with no signal. Then it slowly cleans that static up, a tiny bit at a time, until it magically turns into your video. And that's exactly what the first box, called Random Noise, is for. It simply creates that starting patch of static for the AI to work on. It also holds a number called a seed. The seed is really just a starting point for the randomness. Think of it like a shuffle button on a music app. If you keep the same seed and the same prompt, you'll get the exact same video every single time. But change that seed number, and you'll get a completely fresh, different version. So it's the easiest way to try again and get something new. Next to it is a box called K-Sampler Select. This one simply chooses the method the AI uses to clean up that static. Think of it like picking a recipe. There are several different recipes for removing the noise, and each one goes about it in a slightly different way. This workflow already has a good one chosen for you, so you can happily leave it exactly as it is. Then there's a box called Basic Scheduler. If K-Sampler Select is the recipe, then this box decides how many passes the AI makes over the image while cleaning it up. Here it's set to 20. So the AI cleans up the static in 20 gentle steps. More steps can mean a little more detail, but it also takes longer. And 20 is a lovely balance between quality and speed. There's also a box called Basic Guider. Its job is to keep the AI faithful to your prompt, gently steering it as it cleans up, so it stays on track and doesn't wander off and make something random. It takes the artist and your instructions and keeps them pointed in the right direction. And finally, all of these feed into one box called Sampler Custom Advanced. This is the engine that actually runs the whole thing. It takes the starting static from random noise, the recipe from K-Sampler Select, the number of steps from Basic Scheduler, and the guidance from Basic Guider, and it puts them all to work, cleaning up that static step by step until your video is done. So if the other boxes are the settings, this box is the one that presses go. Honestly though, for your first few videos, you don't need to touch any of these. They are already set up perfectly. Just knowing what they do is more than enough. The last group is called Decoding and Create Video. And in one line, decoding just means taking the AI's finished idea and turning it into something you can actually watch and hear. Remember those 2 VAE converters we loaded right at the start? Well, here's where they finally do their job. The box called VAE Decode takes the finished video idea and, using the video converter, turns it into the actual moving frames you can see. And the box called VAE Decode Audio does the very same thing for the sound. It takes the finished audio idea and, using the audio converter, turns it into a real soundtrack you can hear. This is the exact moment your video and its audio become real. Then comes the box called Create Video. Up to this point, the picture and the sound are still 2 separate things. This box is what brings them together. Now, this is the last box inside the subgraph. So its finished video gets passed out of that big box and sent back to the main workflow. In other words, we've done all the work inside the folder, and now the completed video pops back out onto the main canvas. And that's where our final box is waiting. The box called Save Video simply takes that finished clip and writes it to your output folder, ready to watch and share. And that, right there, is the whole chain from start to finish. Now let's talk about the prompt itself, because this is the most important thing you'll ever write in this whole workflow. A great video starts with a great prompt. So let me show you how mine is put together, using the shoe commercial from this tutorial as our example. I won't read the whole thing out, don't worry. I just want you to see the recipe, so you can follow it for anything you make. The golden rule is this: write like a film director, not like a search engine. Don't just type shoe advert. Describe the scene the way a director would describe it to their film crew, and there's a simple structure you can copy every single time. You start with one opening line that sets the overall vibe. Mine says, in short, a 10-second, ultra-cinematic, photorealistic shoe commercial with the quality of a big global sports campaign. That single line instantly tells the AI the style, the length, and the mood. Then, and this is the key part, you break your video into shots with timestamps. So I wrote an opening shot for 0 to 2 seconds, an action shot for 2 to 6 seconds, a climax for 6 to 8, and a final hero shot for 8 to 10. And for each one, I described 3 things: what is happening, how the camera moves, and what the lighting and mood feel like. This is what stops the AI from getting confused, because you're basically handing it a shot-by-shot plan. After the shots, I added a couple of short direction sections, one for the visual look, describing the kind of camera and film feel I wanted, things like deep blacks and a shallow cinematic focus, and one for the motion, describing how things should move, like smooth tracking shots and realistic water splashes. Then comes my favorite part, and the reason we're using this model, the audio. I wrote a short audio section again matched to those same timestamps, describing the sound for each moment. Quiet city ambience at the start, then footsteps and a beat dropping, building up to one big bass hit on the final shot. Because this model makes sound, you get to design it right here in words. And finally, always finish with a short list of things to avoid. I told it to avoid things like warped logos, extra shoes, or distorted feet. This is a small trick that makes a big difference, because telling the AI what you don't want is just as powerful as telling it what you do want. So, to sum up the recipe, 1 line for the vibe, then your shots with timestamps, then your visual and motion directions, then your audio, and finally, your list of things to avoid. Follow that pattern, be specific, and keep your details consistent, and you'll get results that look genuinely professional. All right, moment of truth. Let's press the run button. And now you'll see the little highlight travel through the boxes, one by one. That's each stage doing its job, in the exact order we just learned. Now, I'll be honest with you. This does take a fair bit of time to generate, especially on the very first run, because it has to load all those big model files before it can even start. So, rather than make you sit and watch a loading bar with me, I'm going to speed this part up. Just know that on your end, this is the moment to be patient, go grab a drink, and let it do its thing. And then, when it finally finishes, you'll have your video, with the picture and the sound made together in one go, and you'll hear how nicely the audio lines up with the action. That is the real magic of this model. And wow, look at that! How cool is that? Just take a moment to appreciate what just happened. We wrote some words, we pressed a button, and out came a proper little video with its own sound, made completely by us. And that's it. You've just learned MiniMax H3 from start to finish. So before you go, let me ask you one small favor. If this video helped you, and if you found it easy to follow, please hit that like button, because it genuinely helps the channel more than you know. And if you want to make more of this kind of thing with me, go ahead and subscribe, and give the notification bell a tap so you don't miss what's coming next. Now, over to you. Go and make your first video, and when you do, drop it down in the comments. I would honestly love to see what you create. If you get stuck on anything at all, just ask me in the comments and I'll do my best to help you out. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.